Hi, I'm Zaeem and this is basically my journey into getting into the best dental school in the world. I'm going to give a rough overview of my journey, but very specifically I want to talk about one key principle. Now before I say what that principle is, let me start off with my rough story. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually was stuck between medicine, dentistry and maths because I really like maths. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. As time went on, I started talking to the people around me left and right and asking what they were actually going to go into. Now everyone was picking different career paths for different reasons. I'd speak to the guy who wants to do maths and finance and they're like, I want to make money. And then I'd say, well, what about the work-life balance? And they'll be like, you know what, I don't mind, I'm a hustler. Some people would go into finance because they just absolutely wanted to make loads of money, didn't care about work-life balance. Then I would speak to people who wanted to do medicine. Medicine seemed great. You get to help people, it's science related, but the work-life balance didn't appeal to me. And that's one thing I've never been shy about, and I don't think anyone should be shy about. Striving to do a career with an excellent work-life balance and, be comfortably paid. So a week before the UCAS deadline, I was still stuck between medicine and dentistry. As in, I sat there and was like, should I change my entire personal statement? Should I just do it? And I told a friend and they turned around and just went, I'm gonna hit you. What do you mean? What do you mean you haven't decided yet? And I was like, no, like I'm gonna do dentistry, but I don't know. Point is, I ended up going for dentistry. Now this is the principle that I'm going to talk about. This principle, with no exaggeration, I attribute towards me getting into dentistry. Clement Watt basically said, take the next step, nothing more, nothing less, and the next will be revealed to you. Now at the time, I didn't have that in my head, but that's exactly what I did. Bear in mind, once I submitted my dentistry application, I didn't know what the interview process was like. I genuinely didn't know what an MMI was, what a panel was. When I did my UK CAT, I didn't even know if I wanted to do medicine or dentistry. Every step of the application process I treated individually. I didn't worry about interviews when I was doing my UK CAT. I had no idea what the interview process was. When I mean no idea, I mean no idea. I didn't know what an MMI was. I didn't know what a panel was. But I just focused solely on smashing my UK CAT and I got above average that year. When it came to writing my personal statement, I was like, I need to write the best personal statement I could possibly write. I wasn't focused on my UK CAT. I wasn't focused on the interviews. I was focused on nothing. My sole focus was the personal statement. Who can I get this checked by? Do I know anyone that does medicine or dentistry? Can I get it checked by them? These were the things that were running in my head. Once I had done that and I got my King's interview, I was like, right, is King's MMI or panel? I didn't know at that point. Then I figured it out, like, oh, it's MMI, what questions come up in MMI, and then I solely focused on the King's interview. Then I got my Bart's interview, then I solely focused on the Bart's interview. Now, am I saying be clueless and have no idea what's coming up, don't prepare? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There's nothing wrong with preparing. But the best thing and the number one thing that anyone needs to do with anything is just solely focus on the 24 hours you have in front of you or the next step. Now I struggle with this a lot in other areas of my life. Like I overthink, I think 10 steps down the line, right? And it's detrimental. But with dentistry, I didn't do that. Maybe it's because I had no choice, because I wasn't sure and I couldn't afford to think about the interviews when I was doing my personal statement because I was just so worried about my personal statement. So again, like, I'm not your typical student. I didn't go to those 3-day intensives, or I didn't do any of that. I just focused on what was in front of me at that time and how can I do it best. Anyway, once I'd given my interviews, then I solely focused on the next thing and I forgot about everything else. Absolutely drilled down on my studies, my academics. I need to get the grades now. I completely forgot about everything else. I didn't worry about anything. I didn't look back. I just kept on going to make sure I smashed the next step. And thank God I got the grades and here I am. Now the reason why I wanted to make this video is because genuinely it's for myself actually, because in a lot of other areas in my life, I start thinking 10 steps ahead. Like, what if this happens and how am I going to prepare for that now? And quite often I look at me getting into dentistry as something to compare myself to, as my own success. And I always say I want to do everything how I did that year. And that year, I didn't overthink. I didn't look 7 steps. I took everything 1 step at a time. And I'd advise you do the same, because there's only so much we can prepare for. Which is why if I was to say, how did I get into dentistry, or what's the secret? If I was to pin it down to one mentality, it's take the next step. Nothing more, nothing less, and the next will be revealed to you.